Since the early stages of currency, forms of currency have always been present. There have been thousands of different types of currency in all different forms. So now we're going to take a long journey down to Mesopotamia.
Welcome to Mesopotamia. We are the original founders of a sophisticated society. Walk with me. So, during our time, we didn't have any, advanced technology or methods of living. So, we had to use what we got. We adopted the method of the barter system and came to know it as our primary use of currency. Come on. Anyway, bartering is a method where no money is actually exchanged. Instead, we use natural goods like crops, nuts, butter, and livestock. Come on. Take a seat. So, bartering was used by all classes of Mesopotamia society. It started off being used by the upper classes, and it was eventually passed down to the lower classes. The use of bartering was the main influence of currency to centuries ahead.
The coin was given an introduction as a payment method around the 6th or 5th century BCE. However, how the coin was invented is still unknown to this day. Some believe that the Lydians were the first to start minting coins, while others believe that they were originally minted by Demdike of Caire, the wife of King Midas. However, earliest parts of coins were primarily found in Turkey. These coins first started being produced in the 7th century BCE and only had one decided on one side of the coin.
Tlce. Paper money was made during the Tang Dynasty in China in 740 BC. We made the paper money as an offshoot of the invention of block printing. Block printing is like stamping. Some people use the process for quilts, but the government made ready use of it and printing money. One of the reasons we made paper money is because the devalued coins were becoming too heavy to carry. We used it for more than 500 years before the practice began to catch on in Europe in the 17th century.
It's 1960 and John F. Kennedy was just elected for president, as well as plastic money was invented. When I mean plastic money, I mean the first form of credit cards. Instead of carrying around a ton of cash, I can just carry around one thing and not have to ever worry about bringing enough money because it's all right here. A man named John Bridges invented this new technology. Many people do not trust this technology because they think they'll either lose it or the credit card won't work when it comes time.
It's crypto! As a society improves and becomes efficient, currency follows close behind. In the recent past, we have seen things like PayPal and other virtual ways to spend your money. And we most recently saw Bitcoin and got introduced to cryptocurrency. In late 2017, we got to watch the price of a single Bitcoin go for a little short of $20,000. But as cool as this investment strategy is, it is not the future of currency. It being impractical, a lot of people think that paper money will still be just as relevant in 25 years.
So what is your job at the bank and what are your responsibilities?
I'm an investment operations associate at State Street Bank. I provide trading support for several wealth management firms, ensuring that all their trading activity is reflected accurately and that any event that could impact their portfolios is accounted for. More specifically, I focus on derivatives, a lesser known but frequently traded type of security.
Do you think within the next 20 years currency will become all digital and why?
Almost certainly not. While most transactions may take place digitally, there will always be a need for physical currency. Many people feel that physical currency is safer and distrust digital currency. Physical currency is also universally accepted, whereas not all people and companies are able to accept digital payments. Compared to digital currency, the movement of physical currency is also much more difficult to track, and thus physical currency will always be of value to those who wish to keep their transactions secret.
Do you think within the next 20 years currency will become all digital, and why?
Almost certainly not. While most transactions may take place digitally, there will always be a need for physical currency. Many people feel that physical currency is safer and distrust digital currency. Physical currency is also universally accepted, whereas not all people and companies are able to accept digital payments. Compared to digital currency, the movement of physical currency is also much more difficult to track, and thus physical currency will always be of value to those who wish to keep their transactions secret.
What are your thoughts on digital currency, and do you use it?
I use digital currency all the time and find it extremely convenient. It is much easier to make purchases with a digital transaction rather than a physical one. I pay all of my bills either through online transfers or Venmo. In total, I probably use some form of digital currency for 90% of my purchases.
Do you enjoy dealing with currency every day?
Yes, I enjoy my job in dealing with currency. As many of the trades I process are in foreign currencies, I've gotten a lot of exposure as to how exchange rates change and how those changes affect my clients' trading strategies.
Why do you think Seattle has adapted to electronic currency and not other cities?
Seattle has always been a very progressive and tech-heavy city. Many companies that develop and utilize digital currencies are based in or have offices there. As these companies most certainly collaborated with local businessmen to test their digital payment technology, it makes sense that the city became one of the first to adapt to digital currencies.
Do you think with the upcoming years there will be no bank tellers and just ATMs and machines doing the labor of bankers?
Automated machines may take over some processes, but not all. Even as automation gets bigger, there will always be certain jobs that robots cannot do. It can also be said that many people simply prefer or feel more comfortable interacting with real people instead of machines, and thus there will always be a need for humans in some roles.
Do you think there's a big future in Bitcoin and other types of currencies like that?
As they currently stand, no. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are far too volatile and impractical to use as a major currency. Although in theory they are promising, in the current times there is not enough support or acceptance of the cryptocurrencies to make them interchangeable with traditional currency. Historically, the strongest and most stable currencies have been those backed by large, powerful governments. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies seek to completely removed from any government backing. Although a deregulated currency is theoretically more economically efficient, it lacks the security and stability that government-backed currencies possess. In my opinion, all blockchain-based cryptocurrencies would have to greatly change before they have a chance of becoming legitimate major currencies.